just let go, like really just accept. And it is accepting the way that my aunt's final moments of her life were just accepting that this divine being, this third dimension that we're in, that we're all just energy and frequency. So to like just become in tune with the universal harmony that is acceptance and just let go and just be. Don't let your thoughts cloud it. Don't let ego get in the way, and just be one with a universal force of love that's inside yourself. Not to be focused on your phone, just to be mindful of where your signals are going and just find that love, because everyone you love will die. Time is just making us all decay away. Our bodies are falling apart. And
I was in a gun range in Pennsylvania when I bought my first gun. And I ran out of there crying before I could even fire it.
Yeah.
And I had never fired any kind of a gun before, and I was listening to the people around me firing the guns, and I had the head protection on.
Yeah.
I had everything going, and I just started crying, and the instructor was like, "What's the problem? What's the problem?" And I was like, all I could think was, this was the last sound that my aunt heard before she died, because I know she would have heard the sound like before she became completely brain dead.
But I feel like the universe stops that from happening. Almost like I feel like it just whoosh. Like I feel like.
And then I ran into the lobby area. What would you call it? Where you check in?
Yeah.
And I looked up and I saw a Nazi flag. And I was like, these people are all Nazis and they all want everyone dead. And I ran out crying, and I went into the car, and then everyone was coming after me like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
She went back, burned the building down. Pro-Jews.
No, what happened was I eventually went back in and I saw it was an anti-Nazi thing.
Yeah.
But I just heard that, and then I saw that, and I was like, I have to be away from this. And
our gun ranges are anti-Nazi for this docu-series episode. Only this episode.
No, I mean, that's really what happened. I was just like all unmedicated, and then just, you know how many times I've been triggered by that thought of what she went through, and that, and just hearing a 38 fire off for the first time right next to my head, even with ear protection. Call me a pussy, but that,
how many people are going to be triggered, pun intended, by someone committing a crazed massacre in the name of the Hebrew Messiah, because pro-Jew. No, but that's like I said, I believe like my aunt, the car crash, I really believe almost like this is crazy, but I believe when you die, a portal just opens up and it's just whatever the next stage of existence is.
Those moments before you die.
The moments before is just like I just find it to be a very peaceful, a very normal, even like.
That's delusional.
But it's
your aunt felt it. I'm sorry. My aunt maybe didn't feel it, but she heard it. If you die, like the plane crash, right? At what point does their mind stop being conscious of it? Because after they die, when they're dying.
But what I'm saying is,
when they're
if
about
you
to die,
then
that's the
it's
most
like waking up out
terrifying
of a dream. It's like if you die, then your whatever next energy conscious field is, or if you return to some ethereal, higher, eternal consciousness, the moment you return to that effervescent being of eternity and love, it's like the dream is over and you're back at that thing. So it's like it didn't even happen. You get what I'm saying? Like if you feel a gunshot and then you die and go into the next life or whatever the next form is, if you're already in that next form, it erases the past. Okay, so you get what I'm saying?
Okay, so when you wake up from a shitty dream, does it fuck your whole day up?
Sometimes.
Okay, then I just disproved your point.
No, but what I'm saying is, I don't think life is a shitty dream, though. I think life is how you see it. No, I think of life as a predetermined nightmare, but that doesn't mean that's what it is. It's just how I perceive it. So what I'm saying is, it's like, I feel like, because you get what I'm saying? Imagine you're being in a plane crash and your plane's going down. Oh my God. And you're conscious.
I've been through that.
No, but it's about to crash.
Yes.
And then your consciousness just evaporates into a fourth dimension. Then you're not going to carry that feeling with you. You're going to be in the next whateverness. So it's almost like that thing didn't happen. It's like one moment you're just conscious, and then the next moment you're just part of some alien god.
Did you see what Rogie
Or a
posted the other
simulation,
day?
or
I think it was yesterday.
or the screen comes over you and it says game over. Would you like to continue?
Rogan posted something yesterday about how they found a way to make dead bodies move their eyes and follow light. Did you see that?
Well, I think that's all like
Did you see that?
electrical. No, but that's like human electrical. I'm talking about the essence.
That's the point I'm trying to get to, is that human electrical part
Yeah.
would still be alive,
Well, this
like
goes
our ants were for that certain amount of time to
the
feel...
soul leaves the body. Like I
Okay,
said,
no, but when does the soul leave the body?
When the soul realizes, all right, this is a wrap, and then the soul just
that is such a beautiful, idyllic way of looking at it. Like the soul decides when it leaves?
Yes.
I don't think so.
Because how many I've seen a lot of dead bodies. And when I was a teenager, used to go into I met up with these punk rock kids in Red Bank, New Jersey, and we would go into the morgue. It's like you can tell whatever essence it is. It's not human chemicals.
We need to hear more about that.
No, there's so many crazy stories like that.
Well, I think that is more interesting.
But no, what I'm saying is it's like, I feel like the essence of a body is gone. Like, go to any funeral and you can tell there's a difference between the person standing next to you that is a living, breathing organism and the body that has the same organs and blood and stuff inside it.
It's like the abortion thing. Like, when does it become a soul? When does it stop becoming a soul? Or
I mean, we're never really going to know the answer to that.
I know, but until we have all the
until we
answers.
know when there's some kind of afterlife. And then it's like I said, if we knew that in the afterlife we're all fourth dimensional infinite aliens, everyone would just be killing each other on the street and moms would be drowning their kids in the bathtub. Like, hey, fast pass to heaven abortion. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think it's just
because I think it's naive when people, I'm sorry for cutting you off, but when people say
used to it.
Life, when people say like, you know, this is the only gift we have, I feel like they think of your rest in peace. They think of death as unconsciousness, whereas I think of death as more consciousness, like a higher level of consciousness than just, you know, being unconscious. And they think of death as like an eternal sleep where you're not dreaming, whereas I think of it as the opposite of like waking up. Is that what makes me crazy than every other person? I see death as waking up. The majority of the world is programmed by religion and society to see death as going to sleep. And that's not an excuse to go all Grand Theft Auto and rob cars and kill people because you're like, well, I'm just waking out of a dream. But that's just how I've always perceived death.
Okay, but we were discussing how you think that when you're dying, you're in a car crash.
Yeah.
And you're bleeding out. You think that you won't feel that.
Yeah, the soul leaves the body. Before
you die
the soul
biologically.
already knows. Yeah, the soul already knows when you're going to die.
That is so
your soul.
sweet.
Oh, yes, it is.
That's so sweet, and I don't believe it.
But now, all right, that's sweet, right? That's fluffy and cuddly.
Yeah.
Now you can see why I talk about murder a lot. Because in my mind, it's this fucking like Care Bears land. Like, see? Isn't there like a light bulb went off? No, but like I talk about murder, or make jokes about murder, and in your mind, it's something very gruesome. And now you're just realizing on this show and 5 years of us being together that I see it as like you're entering a Care Bears land. So that's why I'm like, oh, murder everyone. Like, what if that's what it is? What if you go to the best dimension? So it's like killing someone is loving someone. Like, I love you so, I love 100 people so much, I'm willing to exterminate them. So maybe Hitler loved the Jews so much that he wanted to bring them to the next plane of existence. That's how I feel about death.
Okay.
And again, it would suck to be wrong.
It's really scary.
It's just what I feel because death has surrounded my whole life. I'm like modern day Edgar Allan Poe. The only reason he was a poet is because white people didn't rap back then, or it wasn't socially acceptable. Because thankfully of our media, you know, people in control, entertainment industry. Shout out to the Jews that made hip hop a white person thing. I'm sorry to the black people that got offended by that. I'm just being pro-Jew this episode. Yeah, but no, that's how I feel about death. I feel it's a waking out. And again, I don't know. I just think it's naive to assume that in infinity, when you see those things that zoom out of galaxies, thousands and millions of planets and universes, planets, and it looks like atoms under a cell, under a microscope.
Yeah, I know.
I think it's naive to think that this is the highest level of conscious existence, that if you shoot yourself, then it's lights out.
I never said it was.
I think there's something more.
I do too. That's not what I said.
I know, I'm just saying, I'm talking about the general populace. So if you realize that it's like you're going home to a heavenly great afterlife, not even in a religious sense, but in a spiritual, your body and energy is just all love, all compassion, I think it makes it easier to go about life that way.
It's not like I'm naive to the fact that, oh, we can't imagine there's other things that we can't conceive of because of when you zoom back on the galaxies. Obviously, I know that. I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I think you're being naive by believing that we lose that consciousness when we go to the next dimension if we're in a car crash and we forget that feeling. Like, you said our souls decide when to stop feeling?
Because I feel like our souls inside of us is all the answers, the all-knowing, all-powerful. God is inside all of us. That's what we are, all gods. And if you put all of us together, all humans that have ever existed throughout time are all the collective formation of God and will be. That's why God is eternal. And I just think inside the all-knowing, your soul knows when you're going to pass on.
So it just gives you that like 3-minute window and goes, well, the next 3 minutes are going to be suffering, so I'm just going to shut you down.
Yes. But again, I could be wrong. I don't know. My problem is the fact that I don't know. That's why I'm crazy. That's why I'm a rapper. That's why I'm a comic. That's why I'm a novelist. That's why I'm a performer, is trying to seek energy to know and not forget. To know, because I feel like life is a frequency you tune into, like a radio, and it's based on your thoughts, it's based on your emotions, it's based on your wiring. But you have to take the conscious decision to, like, if you eat McDonald's every day, you'll be on a different frequency than if you eat kale every day, than if you eat meat. And I think everyone has different programming. It's like every individual is from different universes, like multiverse theory, and everyone has to find their destination. That's why I believe life is like a layover in an airport. Everyone you meet in life is on a completely different path than you spiritually. And people like us, fortunately, for the moment being, are holding hands at that of like, oh, we're going to the same gate, or near the same, maybe we have different gates, but we realize that we're in the same terminal, so we're walking alongside. And I realize to always be in the Zen moment of that you're on a path. You are energy. That's what emotions are. Energy in motion. That's neuroscience. So to just flow with your emotions and flow to try to bring yourself to a better state by accepting and not trying to control, and just being one with that eternal energy that's inside you.
I'm just smiling because it's just...
What?
Just because during our break, we were just screaming at each other
Yeah.
like a minute and a half ago.
Yeah.
And then you're like, we're all in love and we're holding hands at the terminal.
Because that's what I would like us to be.
What? Fucking yelling at
But
each
that's
other.
what I'm saying. That's like a past life. That's like
That was
20
a minute
years
and a half ago.
But that's what I'm saying. Time is an illusion. A minute is a decade ago and centuries ago and millenniums, and that's all within a second. If you looked at Earth just transforming colors and energies, it would all be within seconds, which are billions of years. Kind of like how in a dream, time doesn't exist. You can be at one place and then another place when it time-wise doesn't make sense. And I just think that love is what we need. And like right now, I'm remembering it. I'm remembering the all-knowing, all love inside our spirits, but then I forget sometimes, and it makes me feel not the best about life. But when I remember, and my goal is, I guess, like a thing, like repetition, to remember and never forget. I want to remember this feeling that I feel right now and never forget. this love that we're all one and it's not ego, and I use God as a metaphor for like universal design, and just to accept that path rather than resist it, try to control it, or perceive it as something it's not. Because we have no idea. Like, we could die and then it could just be some completely different thing. And we're like, oh, I was just an intergalactic alien entertainment character puppet. You know what I mean? But the fact that we don't know, we should stop making assumptions. I'm just saying what I believe, but I think we should take solace in we don't know. So connect with that inner being that we don't fucking know and just go with the flow.
I laughed so hard and I filmed it, and I'm going to put it on our Patreon. It was 4 years ago when we were in a car and you saw a bumper sticker that said, God is pro-life.
Yeah, because that's human interpretation of God's will.
This is fucking hilarious video.
Yeah.
He's in the car and he's driving and he's screaming, you don't fucking know. I don't fucking know. If God came down and told everyone, then we would fucking know. But you don't fucking know. I was like, wow, you're having a fucking
Do you know be the funniest
attack
thing?
over a bumper sticker.
I have this theory that God would come down and we would all know, because it would speak like 800 languages at once.
Yeah.
To all individuals on the planet at the same time. Like, they're in a different day in the Northeast and, in the South, and they would all hear, and he'd be like, it's pronounced Jod, and then just leave. And then, you know what I mean? We'd be writing about it, but it would just like, it would just be so fucking funny.
You just want God to be funny like that?
God has to have a sick, fucked up sense of humor, because he's been laughing at humanity for so long that, like, he gets desensitized. He needs fucking like planes flying into towers and government covering it up, or government doing it, and be like, oh, these assholes actually believe it, even though the whole building's burned down, but their passports are right there. It's like all a stage show, which are controlled by a certain group of people that we are pro.
Oh my gosh, this is turning into a white power.
No, it's not. There is no white or black. We're just energy. But the fact is, people don't know what God is, so they have to go for tribalism because they're afraid for survival, or they feel a part of their collective human race. I feel beyond that. I feel a part of collective just energy. If there's intergalactic species and we connect on an energetic level, it's that I'm a part of them as much as I'm a part of different other ethnicities. So they should be able to say the N-word. The intergalactic aliens.
Okay. Intergalactic aliens should be allowed to say the N-word. Is that the title of this podcast?
And maybe. It sounds great. Docu-series. Again,
we already decided
if God's... No, the universe will decide what it is. And that's, I think the internet is like a feedback loop where humans were supposed to, like in Egypt, learn to transcend time and space and human existence. Then technology, everyone's focused on the internet, which are really, since we're all one, just mirror reflections of themselves. So it's now in a feedback loop of posting things for the internet or doing things for the internet rather than doing things for their inner spirit. It's these exterior avatar. It's a game they're playing. And they get careers or they get married all based on this internet thing, but it keeps them in a feedback loop of they created their whole life based on the internet, which programs them. It's like they're programming themselves to program themselves. Like, everyone is an algorithm. Everyone's just a makeup of algorithms. So it's like, I don't know.
I wonder how many people are going to watch this and just look at me with sympathy for the fact that this is what I live with. Like, this is you all day, every day. And I wonder how many other people, conversely, will look at you with sympathy that you have to deal with a person who's just like, oh my God, this fucking conversation about the meaning of life again.
Well, they're going to know that I fuck.
Well,
They're going to be like, man, if the thoughts are that crazy there, I wonder what